This video is going to be on trading the open. I'm going to be working in a couple of different symbols, and the charts that we are going to be on will be the 3-minute and the 1-minute, because I want to give you or show you some practical examples of how it is to trade the open. Because we trade the open a lot. It's a fairly volatile time, but that's good from that perspective. And there are, I've listened to videos, guys saying that they don't mess with the open because it's too volatile. Excuse me. And they just don't have the knowledge, or I guess they don't have the indicators to identify what to do at the open, and that's why they stay away from it. And so this video will show you how you can effectively see which way the candles are going, or the trend is going, in a relatively short amount of time. I'm going to switch over to the chart right here, and I'm opening it up here. I'm on a 3-minute chart. As usual, I've got the zip chart here, the power chart here, and the swing chart on the bottom left, and the trend chart above that. This is January 14th, 2016. And I'm looking at the symbol rare, and the other symbol I'll be looking at will be Apple. And I'm going to back this up to the opening, and as you can see here, both these candles today are green candles. It closed at $82 here, and I'm going to back us up to the open here, and the same on the other chart. I'll back us up to the open on this side, and we have the pink line is the opening session line, which is basically, in this case, that candle represents it's a 3-minute candle that represents the open. And the green the green line on each chart is 3 minutes after the open. Now, in this particular case, I just want to look at the opening candle, and I'm looking here in the zip chart, and the one thing that I see in the zip chart that it strikes me immediately is that we have a high pink, or the zip pink is the highest line. And whenever you have a zip pink, the primary rule is that next day it's going to go down. And vice versa to that, we use that setup a lot to control how we move in the market. And the reciprocal to that is the same. When zip pink is lowest, it goes up the next day, or in this case, the next 3-minute candle. What we like to do, however, is when we have a zip pink, we like to verify that what we see is likely to happen. And so we look for additional setups or additional signals that will tell us that what we think is going to happen is going to happen. And if we look down into the power chart, we see that the power Zion is highest, and we also see that on the pink line, the pink line over in the swing chart, that the swing pink has moved down. And if you haven't heard me indicate about the swing pink before, the swing pink is a leading price indicator. It typically shows or has excellent ability to recognize divergence as well. And so with the swing pink going down, especially when it's high up above the 0 and the swing red and green, it's a real strong indication that the next candle will be down. Now, in this case here, this gapped up in the open with the 3-minute candle, and just as it's when you look at the first candle in this setup, it wasn't for the zip pink being highest and the fact that the swing pink is going down. It might be a question as to, we better wait for the next candle. And oftentimes we do, just to verify that, to see where we're at. Unless, of course, you can catch it on the minute chart, which I'm going to flip to in a little bit. But I want to go to assuming that we're just looking at the 3-minute candle and we have nothing else to look at, we move over to the 4th minute and we hit the green line. And on the green line of the 4th minute, or starting it's the 4th, 5th, and 6th minute after the open. And on that open, obviously at some point, maybe it's the 4th or the 5th minute, the high point of the green candle appears. And at that point, if not before, the zip green would also be high. And the one thing that, however, that we can tell after the second candle appears on the zip chart, we are in a red-green peak. And a red-green peak is just a real high probability down movement, which is exactly where we anticipate we're going to go. Because the previous day we had our previous 3-minute candle, we had a high pink, and then of course we had the swing pink going down, and so again we are now on the second candle and we are going down. And so we also, if you look down here in the power chart, we just have practically every single line. We have the power pink, white, and blue in a low angle up. We have the power red and yellow in a low angle down. We also have the the power Zion in its second day going down from a peak. And so even though the opened up higher, we can tell that it's going down, and now we're into 5 and 6 minutes after the open, and we know it's going down. Now, I want to point out. I'm just going to go to the last day, and this would be basically at the last red candle. Before I do that, however, I'm going to point out one key thing here. We use a white vertical line. The white vertical line is the first day on the zip Zion highest. And what's the rule for a zip Zion highest? The symbols or the price goes down. Now uniquely, this zip Zion has just gone up several days, but the price is still continuing to go down. On this day, we have the zip green hitting 0, so we know we're down. And keep in mind, the zip green tells us about the trades entering and leaving the market. And when zip green is at 0, they are leaving the market. So you've got traders that are basically selling out. And so you can look at this day, they're selling out because of the zip green. If you go over here to the next day, what do we have? In the zip chart, we have a red peak. The red peak is a high spike red line, zip red line, and the zip yellow is low. Zip yellow on the white vertical line day is at 12. And the zip red moves really fast. It's a very volatile, it records volatility quite readily. And it's only made it up to, it's under 50 somewhere. The zip red is at 44. And so with it not even being able to make it past 50, we're just almost positive that the next day that candle is going to be red. Now, the other thing, I haven't put this on paper when we're looking at the Zip Zion line, but when the Zip Zion just has either highest or lowest, if it has the zip green in its way, you can basically assume that the Zip Zion is still either highest or lowest, because the Zip Zion also records trading traffic in and out of the market. And those two, the Zip Green and the Zip Zion, are tied together. And the pattern to that, because of the Zip Red and Zip Gray volatility, if they're in the way of the Zip Zion line, then you don't need to pay attention to the fact that the Zip Red and the Zip Gray may have gone through or into the Zip Zion. That being said, it usually works that way, but you know, it's not an absolute thing, depending on the line that you're looking at. But because we are looking at a red peak with a zip yellow real low, and the red not having been able to get past 50, we're almost positive that it's going down the next day. And that's what the Zip Zion is telling us too, because Zip Zion highest is a downtrend, and Zip Zion lowest is an uptrend. And so then we move on to the next day. Again, we have Zip Zion highest on a peak, run a red candle, and it is with a high probability going down the next day. And again, most of our points are right down there on the green line. This could be a day when things bounce up if it was not for the Zip Zion being highest. We move on to the white vertical line on this day, and here again we have the Zip Zion is still highest. We have the Power Zion in a down touch, in an up touch, the zero line. So that's going to be very indicative of a downturn again. And of course, the Zip Red has only reached a high of 13. So we know we're in a down mode. We move on to the next day. We got the Zip Red. It reached a high of 22. And now Zip Zion is at 0. And Zip Zion runs at 0 the next day. So we're going in. And finally we get to this red candle day. Every single day we can see how we would stay in the trade, because that's what I'm trying to show you. The other fact is that from this white vertical line right there represents the first day that the Zip Green line hit 0, and it stayed on 0 all the way through here, and in fact it is still on 0 on the red vertical line day. But on the red vertical line day we have one of the key things that we look for, and we call it a pink green bottom. It's actually when the zip green equals 0 and the zip pink is above it. And usually nothing's in between. But in this case, if I extend this out, in this case you heard me before, the zip Zion is at 0 as well. But both of those are just recording. I shouldn't say just, because that's a powerful tool to understand, but they are recording the people leaving and entering the market. And so when both of them are at 0, we're pretty heavily leaving. But what do we have here? Never before in all of these days where the zip green has been at 0 has pink been the lowest until today. On this vertical red line day, the zip pink is at 0.64. And so that's one of the signals that says, okay, the next day it's going to turn green. But key with that, you got 3 things that really are a classic zip green bottom day. The first one is that zip green is at 0. The second one is that zip pink is the next lowest line. And the third one is that zip yellow, blue, and red are going up, because the zip red and the zip blue and the zip yellow, excuse me, each one of those are very fast indicators, and they identify the following day's movement, or I should say the following 3-minute candle movement. And so that's a classic point of entry point. We're at the bottom and we're now going up. And I'll point out to you, it's closing on this red vertical line at $70.61. And even if you bought short, or excuse me, you sold short on the green vertical line, the green vertical line closed at 77.54. And with the red vertical line closing at 70.61, you can see that you've got a strong $6-7 move just going down. And we know when we started out, the day ended at 82. And so it's down here at 70, goes up $12 more from right after it leaves here during the rest of the day. And so, I mean, here again, this is a classic indication of candle activity pattern theory. When you end up with a green candle at the end of the day, it normally opens, goes down, goes up, creates the green body, gets up to a high point, and then by the end of the day comes down and creates that upper tail of a green candle. And it's vice versa with a red candle. And so it's following a lot of patterns here that we see in just normal activity, and it's happening on the 3-minute chart. Now I'm going to open up here. This is exactly the same place. It's opening today on the 1-minute chart. The pink line is on both charts is the opening bell, 1 minute long, and we can see from the opening bell at 1 minute that we have we can't really tell a lot from the 1 minute, with the exception that we have the zip pink is going up, so it tells us that it's likely to go up in the next candle. We have the zip red going up, which is likely to tell us it's going up in the next candle as well. So if I move this green line over to the second minute, we then have a situation where we have we've actually reached a good point from the perspective of the power chart. The power red is on it's on a low angle down indication. I'll spread this out a little so you can see it. It's also on along with that, the zip chart has several of the other indicators that say it's going to go down. And the green line is down, but it's not at zero. The other indication over here on the trend chart is on the green line, green vertical line in the trend chart. We actually have the trend gray in a head and shoulders pattern. It's about 6 minutes long from the previous day. And so our indication is at this point that things are going to go down. And keep in mind we're on the 1 minute chart. Then we move the green candle over to the next day, and what does it do? It remains at the exact same price. Or maybe there's a penny or two difference, but it's not significant. On this day here, we now have, on the zip chart, we now have the green at 100, and we have the pink, the zip pink is highest right next to it. So that says that it's going to go down. And the trend gray, and keep in mind the trend gray is our divergence recognition indicator, and that again is going down. We hit our head and shoulders pattern. This thing says it's going to go down. The red says it's going to go down. The red trend says it's going to go down. But look at, if you notice here, we've got a really, in the previous 15 minutes or so that the market was reacting to in the previous day, the trend blue line was real choppy, but it's still going up, and so it hasn't as of yet it hasn't changed direction. We know because we're on the minute chart that it's only a few pennies one way or the other, and that's why we're on the minute chart, because we remember, just if you remember, on the 3 minute chart that we had opened before, the 3 minute chart, I'll flip back there, was red. Okay, and then the second candle turned green on the 3 minute chart. Flipping back to the 1 minute chart, we can see that we are now on this is the 3rd minute after the open, and we can identify the swing Zion in a low angle peak, low angle peak. And so again, the indication is that it's going to go down the next day. Our trend red has been on that peak as well, and it's coming down. The next day is red. Again, it doesn't look like the price changed more than a dime or 20 cents, and we're in a $88 category, so it's not significant. But what I'm trying to point out here is that you're getting signals for a down movement, but we have a little bit of divergence in that, and you can see it in your zip Zion line that's running right through the middle here. The zip Zion line is going down. meaning that the people entering or leaving the market, when it's going down, they're leaving the market. So it's real gradual in these first few minutes, but the price is going up. And so we have a little bit of divergence going on here. And then if we move this over to the peak of the, basically at least what held at the high point. We don't know, I mean, obviously the day before the green vertical line right now, or the minute before the green vertical line right now, that red, we call it a hammer or a hangman, whatever you want to call it. When it's on the top like that, with a long upper tail, we don't know how long it was able to hold that. It was obviously a little higher, but the green vertical line today is holding the price, that minute is holding that minute's price up there. We know that because the zip green is still at 100, but interestingly, if you go back down to your swing chart, you have a high M pattern in your swing Zion with the right M higher than the left M. Now the left M is obviously flat, and you have the exact opposite a few minutes before that on the previous day. But we have a high M here with a peak on the right. And on the on the swing pink, we have the same thing. We have a high M pattern, but the pink is low. And so we've got divergence here. And when you have divergence, you obviously look for a reversal. Now, one other thing that I wanted to point out, I pointed out earlier that we still hadn't reached a point at where your trend yellow, pink, blue had turned down. And in fact, the yellow, pink, blue doesn't turn down until this day where the vertical red line is at. And that's that now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are 6 minutes into, or after the open, and we now have the trend blue, pink, yellow turning down. Interestingly enough, and this is one of the key things, your swing gray is a deep cycle indicator. And if you've looked at the charts before, you've seen how far the swing gray will swing way down or way up. In this case here, it's not up very high. It isn't the highest, but what's happened on this green vertical line right here is the first day that the swing gray line has turned down. It's in a TOC pattern. And as a result of that, we then see that this is is definitely the point. If you haven't got the message before, I mean, it's a pure automatic for me at this point without any doubt. I might have even grabbed the last one with the vertical line on the red candle right now. But this one here is really key, and that's because of the swing Zion in a high M pattern that has a point higher than the previous M, the left M portion. And most important is that we have the divergence in the swing pink when the high M is significantly lower than the left part of the M pattern. And swing pink is a leading price indicator. It's really fast. I think you've heard me say before that I I really look at the zip red and the swing pink as key directional pointers for the start of entry and exit points. But the swing pink, it just shows an excellent ability to recognize divergence, and here's a classic example of it. We've got a relatively large green candle in this 1 minute pattern on the vertical green line day. I'll move this one over here to that same one. And on this day, the swing pink does a high M with a low right peak. It's just absolutely amazing how these indicators will tell you what's going on. And there isn't anybody that can look at this 1 minute pattern and look at that second large green candle on the 6th minute and make a call and say, I think it's going down. You can't do that with candles, but you can do it with indicators like are in the system. They just amazingly tell us about where we're at in our relationship to the pressures in the market. Trend red is a classic example. From the pink opener, this is a 1 minute opener with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This green candle is on the 5th minute. From the pink opener, it does nothing but go up, except I guess the 4th day. But it's obviously you've got higher highs. Everything is leading to. I mean, you're in a uptrend. When you get higher highs, you're in an uptrend. But look at your trend red. Your higher highs, if you look at it like this, your higher highs are just continuing to drop from 3 minutes before the close of yesterday to the 5th minute after the open of today. And it's just plain pure divergence. And it gives you that signal, it tells you what's going on, and you can sell short on that situation because it is going down. It significantly, in this case here, it goes down. In the 1 minute chart, it drops. We have a high here today on the vertical green line of 88.56, and if I move this green line over here to the bottom, where again, what do we have here? We have the swing, excuse me, I said that wrong. We have the pink green bottom, and in this case here, we just had a you have one here before, but you also know that the power orange line, when it's highest, you're in a downtrend. And so you wouldn't, because your lines have not gone up above the orange and green line, you would have stayed in that downtrend. You would have stayed short at that point. You wouldn't have gotten out because the movements are minor. And so, like I said, you went over here. You were at 88.56, and this green vertical line right now closes at 84.01. So in about 20 minutes, it dropped $4. And so that's what trading the open is all about. You can literally, I mean, if you had 100 shares, you would have made $400. If you had 1,000 shares, you could have made $4,000 in 20 or 30 minutes. Now I want to show you Apple. Okay, same thing here as with Apple. We're going to end up with a green candle on the day. With the pink vertical line, that's the opening candle. That's the first 3-minute candle of the day. And in this particular case, we have a high pink. And a zip high pink, or zip pink highest, is an automatic I'm going down scenario. But again, I've mentioned it, we'd always like to find a verification if we can as to what's going on. And in this case here, it comes in the power chart. We have a whole bunch of lines. We have the pink, yellow, blue, and white that are all up touching the orange and green long-term trend lines. And the other thing is, when two other things, the power Zion, which can be occasionally very high, barely gets above zero, but the most important is the power red. It has gone up to a peak where the zip pink is highest, and it can't even get close to the lines that are near zero in the power chart. And so it is just a prime indication that that we are at a high point when we're looking at the 3-minute candle. This is before the 3-minute candle even closes. You know that this is the situation. Now, you'd obviously want to wait towards the end of that candle so it didn't fly up on you possibly, but it's not likely because your previous 10-12 minutes are with the power red under zero. And when you understand power red is it's a crossover indicator, but it's a cycle position indicator, or it has cycle position attributes. What it means is that when power red is traveling under zero, the price goes down. And when power red is traveling up above zero, the price goes up. And that is, if I do it like this, where I can just kind of glance or you can see what's happening with it going up and with it going down, you can see where things are happening. Or how things are moving, I should say. I'm going to switch to a 1-minute chart on Apple, and I've got back here on the opener. I'm going to show you what that looks like. We got the same thing here as far as the colors go. I've got the pink as the opening minute, and as you can see, we've got a zip pink highest. We have the power red that has gone over the zero line. Whenever power red crosses over the zero, it's usually a pretty strong candle. And in this case here, it really gapped up. The gap, I think, was $1 or something. And so we don't see a big green candle, but we see the gap. And this, especially in your daily chart, when the power red crosses zero, there are many times you can see gap up plays that it makes. And obviously, from the pink line, I'm going to move this red vertical line over to the bottom over here. That you can see that the red power red line is underneath the 0 line and underneath all the other lines, and when it's traveling underneath, what happens? Until it starts going back up, things go down. Same is true over in this area. You can see how the candles go down. Now I'm gonna again blow or expand this out just to play this through a little bit. We do have the swing Zion coming into play again, the zip Zion coming into play again. Again, when it's highest, price goes down and everything is just real low. You know, it's just like here, the zip red goes up to a whopping 15. And so you know there's no pressure there at all. I mean, the pressure that's there is in a downtrend mode. But we go over here to the day when actually this day here, the day before, is the day when you have what? You have zip pink at 0.18. You have zip green at 0. The zip Zion is also at 0. And you have all four, the red, gray, blue, and yellow going up. That's your classic, I'm going to go up the next day, or in this case, the next minute, indicator. And at that point, you know, we've got a minute here, so you're likely going to be exiting your short position. If you don't get it done till the next minute, I'm going to expand on this so you can see what happens. I'm looking at the lower tails of these two red candles here on the vertical line. And what happens is we have a high right leg pattern in the zip blue, yellow, and gray, and we have a power notch going up pattern in the zip red, while we have zip green at 0 and the zip pink is at 0.15. Now there's times when you can see, or zip pink can be, you know, at 0. And over here, zip pink is at 0.65 for that up movement. But this thing that I'm talking about, it's called a pink-green bottom. What happens, the pink does a crescent move and just swings right in and gets lower and lower and lower and lower. Over here, look at what happened. It went down, then it bounced way up, then it came back, and then it started its crescent move. And eventually got to its lowest point. And in this case, you have the zip. This would be where the green line is. You have the zip yellow and blue going up. But again, we can see that in the next minute it's going to go down because we're looking right at a red top. The red top didn't even get over 50. Again, this red top's at 44, and then it's going to go down for one more minute. We move the green line over to that one more minute, and there's the bottom. Those are classic examples of how the pink-green bottom works. I hope that was helpful. It was done basically show you how trading can be done at the open on 1 and 3 minute charts. Those indicators show you via signals or via divergence or even setups. We call the pink-green bottom a setup, and that's because it's a combination of a pink line and a green line. Actually 4 lines, because normally the up move is when the zip blue and yellow and red and gray also each go up when pink goes down and green is at 0. And then if, like I showed you on that other one, if the zip pink is bouncing around all over the place and then it finally comes back down to its lowest point next to the green line, that's usually the alert day for the turnaround, for the reversal, or your entry point or exit point, or whatever you're going to call it. It's just exciting, isn't it? It's amazing that you can see what's going to happen in the next minute. I mean, I ran down 10 or 12 red candles there and showed you how each one was likely to drop. And let's face it, when you're on the 1 minute or the 3 minute candle, if you miss a signal, the effect of that signal is only going to be a few pennies one way or the other. So it's not significant. But it sure is great to understand what's happening and how you can make a significant profit in this business. That's it for this video. I am going to encourage you to trade responsibly and follow the money management rules. Follow the risk rules. Don't invest too much. Learn this system before you get started. It's an exciting system. It's absolutely fantastic, and just keep looking at videos. You'll learn more. You'll gain that synergism that I've talked about before. The difference between looking at 10 videos and having looked at 50 videos. You see how things really begin to fall into place.